The wind howled across the ridge like it was trying to push us back down the mountain, but Sarah just laughed and kept climbing, her blonde ponytail swinging behind her like a golden flag. I followed, my boots crunching on loose shale, heart pounding not from the altitude but from the way she kept glancing back at me with that smile that always made my stomach flip. We had done this trip a dozen times before. Just two friends escaping the noise of Portland for a weekend in the Cascades. But today felt different, heavier. Like the air itself was holding its breath. We reached the summit just as the sun broke through the clouds, painting the peaks in gold and crimson. Sarah dropped her pack and spun around, arms wide, yelling into the emptiness. I stood there watching her, the woman I had quietly loved for 7 years, the one who still introduced me as her best friend to everyone, the one who dated guys and talked about weddings and kids like it was the only path worth walking. She turned to me then, breathing hard, eyes shining brighter than the view. "Alex," she said, her voice suddenly small against the wind. "I need to tell you something. I have been lying to you. To everyone. I am not straight. I never have been. And I am in love with you." The words hit me like a rock slide. I stared at her, the world tilting, my mind scrambling to catch up. Sarah, the girl who had held my hand through my coming out in college, who had defended me against every homophobic joke at parties, who had cried with me when my first girlfriend left, was standing there confessing that the entire foundation of our friendship was built on a secret she had buried so deep even I had believed it. My mouth opened but nothing came out. She stepped closer, tears already streaming down her wind-reddened cheeks. "I could not keep pretending anymore," she whispered. "Every time we are out here, just us, I feel it so strongly I can barely breathe. I have wanted to kiss you since the day we met in that stupid freshman dorm. But my family, my church, the life they planned for me. It was easier to just smile and date the boys they liked. Until now. Until you." I reached for her without thinking, pulling her into my arms as the wind whipped around us. Her body trembled against mine. Not from cold but from years of fear finally breaking free. We stood there on that exposed ridge, two women holding each other like the world might end if we let go. And for the first time in my life I felt like the ground beneath me was finally solid. We did not kiss that day. Not yet. The confession was too raw, too enormous. We hiked down in silence mostly, her hand finding mine every time the trail narrowed, squeezing like she was afraid I would vanish. Back at the trailhead she finally spoke again. "I do not expect you to feel the same, Alex. I just could not carry it alone anymore." I stopped her right there beside my old Subaru. "Sarah, I have been in love with you since the first week I knew you. I just learned how to live with the ache because you were straight. Or so I thought." Her eyes widened, then softened, and she leaned her forehead against mine. "Then we have both been idiots." That night in the tent, zipped into separate sleeping bags but facing each other, we talked until the stars faded. She told me about the pressure from her parents in Boise, the way her father preached about traditional values every Sunday, how her mother had already picked out wedding china with her last boyfriend. She had dated 3 guys in college, kissed them, slept with one, all while crying in the bathroom afterward because it felt wrong in her bones. She had dated me in her mind for years, imagined a life where we could be together without the world burning it down. I told her about the nights I lay awake wondering why I could not move on, why every woman I dated felt like a shadow of what I wanted with her. We fell asleep like that, hands reaching across the space between bags, fingers linked, the first real touch after years of pretending. The drive back to Portland the next day was quiet but electric. Every glance felt loaded. When we stopped for coffee in Bend, she reached across the table and brushed her thumb over my knuckles, a tiny gesture that sent fire through me. We were no longer just friends. We were something terrifying and beautiful and real. But reality waited in the city like a storm cloud. Sarah had a job interview lined up with her uncle's firm in Boise the following week, a family obligation she could not dodge. I had my own life, my graphic design freelance work, my small apartment with the rainbow flag in the window. We agreed to take it slow, to figure out what this meant before telling anyone. We lasted 4 days. On the 5th night she showed up at my door at midnight, eyes red from crying. I kissed her before she could speak. It was soft at first, tentative, then desperate, years of longing crashing through both of us. We did not sleep that night. We talked between kisses, made promises we had no idea how to keep, held each other like we were the only two people left on Earth. The next morning she called her mother to say she was staying in Portland a few more days. The lie sat heavy between us, but we were too wrapped up in each other to care. For one perfect week we lived in a bubble, cooking together, watching old movies, making love without ever saying the word because it still felt too fragile. She was gentle and fierce in everything I had dreamed, and I fell harder than I thought possible. Then her phone rang. Her father. The interview had been moved up. She had to go to Boise tomorrow or risk losing the family connection that paid for her college. She looked at me with panic in her eyes. "I cannot lose you now," she whispered. "Then do not go," I said. But she did. The text came at 2 a.m. 3 nights later. "I miss you so much it hurts. I am sitting in my childhood bedroom staring at the cross on the wall, and all I can think about is your hands." I called her immediately. She answered on the first ring, voice thick with tears. "They are already planning my life again, Alex. Mom introduced me to this guy from church, David, nice enough, stable, wants kids. Dad keeps saying it is time to settle down, find a good man, build a family the right way. Every time I open my mouth to tell them about you, the words die in my throat. Come home, I begged. We will face it together. I do not know if I am brave enough." Those words became the refrain of the next month. She came back to Portland for weekends when she could, sneaking into my apartment like we were teenagers hiding from parents. Each visit was more intense, more desperate. We fought for the first time when she canceled a trip because her mother guilt-tripped her about missing a family barbecue. "You are choosing them over us," I accused. "I am trying to figure out how to have both," she cried. "There is no both, Sarah. Not with them." She left crying. I did not hear from her for 6 days. When she finally called, it was from a hospital. She had driven too fast on the way back to Boise, distracted by guilt and longing, and clipped a guardrail. Minor injuries, but the car was totaled. Her father picked her up, saw the bruises, and lost it. He demanded to know what was wrong with her, why she was so reckless lately. She almost told him everything right there in the ER, but the words stuck again. Instead, she let them take her home. Let her mother fuss over her. Let the church ladies bring casseroles and prayers. And she let David visit, the nice church boy, because it was easier than fighting. I found out about David from her sister, who I had become friends with over the years. Sarah had not told me. When I confronted her over video call, she broke down. "It is not serious. It is just to keep them happy until I figure out what to do." "Keeping them happy means erasing me," I said. She could not deny it. The rail break came in October. Sarah's parents announced they were throwing her a surprise 28th birthday party at their house in Boise. She invited me, of course, as her best friend. I drove down alone, heart in my throat, wearing the necklace she had given me, the one with the tiny mountain charm. The party was everything I feared. Streamers, cake, David at her side like he belonged there, her father toasting to future happiness and grandchildren. Sarah smiled the whole time, but her eyes kept finding mine across the room, pleading. After cake, she pulled me into the backyard under the pretense of showing me the new patio lights. The moment we were alone, she kissed me so hard I tasted blood, hands shaking. "I cannot do this anymore," she sobbed against my mouth. "I am dying inside." "Then tell them," I said. "Right now. Or I walk away for good." She stared at me, torn between two worlds. Then she took my hand and walked back inside. The living room went silent when we entered, still holding hands. Her mother dropped a plate. Her father turned purple. "What is this?" he demanded. Sarah's voice trembled but did not break. "Dad, Mom, everyone, I need you to listen. I am in love with Alex. I have been for years. She is the one I want to build a life with." The room erupted. Her father roared about sin and shame. Her mother cried about what the neighbors would say, what the church would think. David looked like he had been punched. Cousins whispered. Aunts quoted Bible verses. Sarah stood her ground, gripping my hand until her knuckles were white. "I am not asking for permission. I am telling you who I am." Her father pointed at the door. "Get out of my house. Both of you. And do not come back until you have repented." We left in silence. Sarah cried the entire drive back to Portland, curled in the passenger seat like a child. I held her hand and drove, feeling both triumphant and terrified. That night she moved in with me permanently. No more weekends, no more hiding. We were together officially, painfully, beautifully. But the cost had just begun. The first week was bliss. We woke up tangled together, made coffee in our pajamas, laughed at stupid things. Sarah got a job at a local nonprofit, something far from her family's influence. I introduced her to my friends as my girlfriend and watched her light up every time she said the word. Then the calls started. Her mother first, crying, begging Sarah to come home to talk to the pastor to get counseling. Sarah hung up gently but firmly. Then her sister, torn between loyalty to parents and love for Sarah. Then blocked numbers, anonymous texts calling us abominations. Sarah held strong, but I saw the cracks. She stopped sleeping through the night. She jumped every time the phone rang. She started checking her reflection in every mirror, worrying she looked different now that she was out. Then came Thanksgiving. She wanted to try one last time. Just dinner, she said. Maybe they have calmed down. I will go alone first, test the waters. I begged her not to, but she went. She came back 3 hours later with a black eye. Her father had hit her. Not a slap, a full punch when she refused to renounce me. Her mother had stood by watching. Her brother had tried to stop it and gotten shoved against a wall. Sarah stood in my doorway, blood on her lip, and said, "I am done. They are dead to me." I took her to the ER. The doctor documented everything. We filed a police report, though we both knew it would go nowhere in that town. Sarah pressed charges anyway, shaking but determined. The family responded with silence at first. Then a lawyer's letter demanding she sign over her share of a family trust, or they would sue for defamation. Then the church announced a prayer circle for her soul. Sarah changed after that. She became harder, angrier. She threw herself into LGBTQ advocacy, volunteering at the local center, speaking at events. I was proud of her, but I missed the soft girl who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during movies. Christmas was brutal. She spent it with me and my chosen family, the friends who had become our support network. We cooked a feast, exchanged silly gifts, laughed until we cried. But late that night she confessed she still dreamed about her mother's cooking, her father's rare hugs before everything fell apart. "I do not regret choosing you," she said, "but I miss who I used to be before I had to choose." I held her tighter. In January, her sister reached out secretly. Their mother had been hospitalized with stress-related heart issues. The family blamed Sarah. The guilt ate at her. She started therapy. So did I. We learned to talk about the hard things without exploding. We learned that love was not just the mountain moments but the ugly ones too. Then David showed up at our door. He had driven from Boise, flowers in hand, saying he still loved her, that he could forgive her confusion, that they could start over. Sarah closed the door in his face, but not before he slipped an envelope under it, a letter from her father offering to drop all legal action if she came home and went to conversion therapy. She burned the letter in our kitchen sink. But the damage was done. The next week she had a panic attack in the grocery store, when someone called us dykes loud enough for everyone to hear. She started drinking more. Not enough to worry me yet, but enough that I noticed. I asked her to marry me in March, on the same mountain where she had confessed. She said yes through tears, promising forever. We did not know forever was about to get tested harder than we imagined. The engagement announcement went viral in the worst way. Sarah posted a photo of us on the summit, rings visible, caption simple, "She asked." I said yes. The internet lost its mind. Support poured in from strangers. Hate flooded from people who claimed to know us, mostly from her old church circles. Her parents went public. Her father gave an interview to a conservative radio show calling her possessed, saying the devil had taken their daughter. Her mother appeared on a local news segment crying about losing her little girl to the gay agenda. Sarah responded with a powerful op-ed in the Portland newspaper. She told our story, the real one, the years of hiding, the violence, the love that refused to die. It was picked up by national outlets. Suddenly we were the face of something bigger than ourselves. The backlash was immediate and vicious. Death threats in our inbox. Tires slashed on my car. Someone spray-painted slurs on our apartment door at 3 a.m. We moved to a new place, changed numbers, installed security cameras. Sarah's job offered her paid leave for safety. My freelance work dried up as clients worried about association. But something else happened too. LGBTQ organizations reached out. We started getting invitations to speak, to march, to be visible. Sarah said yes to everything. I worried she was running on adrenaline and rage. In June we attended Pride. She marched with a sign that said "My love is not a sin." I walked beside her, proud but exhausted. That night in the hotel she broke down, admitting she was terrified we would never be safe. "I am dragging you into this war," she said. "I chose this war when I fell in love with you," I replied. In July her mother called. Alone. Begging to see her daughter. Sarah agreed to meet in a neutral cafe in Portland. No father, no church people. The meeting was 4 hours long. Her mother cried, apologized for not protecting her, admitted she had been wrong about many things but still struggled with the Bible teachings. She wanted to try to understand. Sarah gave her cautious hope but clear boundaries. No more conversion talk. No more hiding me. They hugged at the end. Small step but a step. Her father remained silent. Until August. He showed up at our new apartment unannounced, drunk, raging. He called Sarah every name in the book, said she had killed her mother with stress, that she was going to hell. When he lunged at me, Sarah stepped between us and screamed at him to leave or she would call the police. He left, but not before promising she would regret choosing me over family. 2 weeks later Sarah got the call. Her mother had had another heart attack. This one fatal. The funeral was in Boise. Sarah insisted on going. I insisted on going with her. The church was packed. Whispers followed us like smoke. Her father refused to look at us. At the graveside he finally spoke to her, voice cold as winter. "You did this. Your choices killed her." Sarah did not flinch. "No, Dad. Your hate did." We left before the reception. Sarah did not cry until we were back in the car. Then she sobbed so hard I had to pull over. "I should have tried harder to make them see," she kept saying. "You cannot make someone see what they refuse to look at," I told her. That night she made a decision that changed everything. She wanted to get married immediately. Small ceremony, just our chosen family, before anything else could be taken from us. We married in September on that same mountain, surrounded by 20 people who loved us without condition. Vows were spoken through tears. Rings exchanged under a clear sky. For one perfect day the world was kind. We did not know her father had hired a private investigator. The papers arrived by certified mail in October. Her father was suing for custody of Sarah's share of the family estate, claiming she was unfit due to mental instability caused by her lifestyle. He had medical records from her therapy sessions, somehow obtained, twisted to suggest she was delusional. He had photos of us kissing taken secretly at Pride. Screenshots of her social media posts. A timeline of her coming out that painted her as unstable and dangerous to herself. Sarah read the filing in silence, then threw the stack across the room. "This is war," she said quietly. We hired a lawyer. The best we could afford. The case dragged through the courts for months. Every hearing was a fresh wound. Her father sat across the aisle glaring like we were strangers. Her siblings were forced to testify, some supporting him out of fear, others staying neutral. The stress broke us in ways I never expected. Sarah started having nightmares about her mother dying again, blaming her. She began drinking heavily to sleep. I found bottles hidden in the pantry, in the car, in her gym bag. When I confronted her, she promised to stop, then did not. I started snapping at her over small things. The dishes, the laundry, the way she left her shoes in the middle of the floor. We fought about money, about the legal bills draining our savings. We fought about whether to have kids someday, whether it was even responsible in this world. In February she disappeared for 3 days. No calls, no texts. I was frantic. Found her in a motel outside Seattle, drunk and suicidal, convinced she had ruined my life. I brought her home. Checked her into a treatment center the next day. She fought me at first, then broke down and agreed. 30 days later she came out clearer, steadier. She had faced the guilt, the grief, the anger. She apologized for checking out when I needed her most. I forgave her. We started over again. The court case ended in May. We won. The judge ruled the lawsuit frivolous, awarded us legal fees. Her father was ordered to pay. He never did. But the victory felt hollow. The family was destroyed beyond repair. Sarah's siblings slowly came around. Her sister visited first, then her brother. They apologized for not standing up sooner. Small reconciliations, fragile but real. Her father never spoke to her again. In June we bought a small house outside Portland, with a yard for the dog we adopted. We planted a garden. We tried to build something normal. But normal kept slipping away. Sarah started having health issues, stress-related, doctors said. Migraines, stomach problems, exhaustion that would not lift. I took care of her, but resentment grew in the quiet moments. I had given up so much: career opportunities, family holidays, peace of mind. One night I said it out loud. Sometimes I wonder if loving you was worth losing everything. She looked at me like I had slapped her. Then she packed a bag and left. She went back to Boise. Not to her father, but to her sister's house. She needed space, she said. Needed to figure out who she was without the war. I let her go. What else could I do? For 6 weeks we barely spoke. She texted updates, said she was seeing a new therapist, spending time with her nieces, trying to heal without me as a crutch. I fell apart quietly. Quit my job. Slept on the couch. Wondered if this was how it ended. Not with a bang but with silence. Then she called at midnight in July. I am coming home, she said. But I need to tell you something first. She had met someone in Boise. A woman from a support group. Nothing physical, just long talks, shared pain. She had felt understood in a way she never had with me, because this woman had grown up in the same church, same pressures. I am not leaving you for her, she said quickly. But I realized I have never been alone. Never chosen myself first. I need to do that now. I hung up and threw my phone across the room. She came back 2 days later anyway. We sat on the porch of our house, the one we had dreamed about, and talked until dawn. I love you, she said. But I do not know if I know how to love without breaking us both. I told her I felt the same. That the mountain confession had been the most beautiful moment of my life. And every day since had been a battle. I was no longer sure I wanted to fight. We decided to separate. Not divorce, not yet. Just space. She moved into her sister's place in Portland temporarily. I stayed in the house. It lasted 3 months. In October she showed up with coffee and bagels like old times. We talked without fighting. Laughed even. I miss you, she said. I miss us, I replied. We started dating again, slowly like strangers. Dinner dates. Movies. No pressure. No expectations. In December she asked to come home for good. I said yes. We renewed our vows on New Year's Eve, just us on the mountain again, snow falling softly. This time the promises were quieter, more realistic. We would stumble. We would hurt each other. But we would choose each other anyway. Her father died the following spring. Alone. Sarah went to the funeral. She did not cry. Afterward she said, I forgive him. Not for him. For me. We adopted a child 2 years later. A little girl who called us both mama and never knew the wars that came before her. Sometimes late at night I still wonder. Was the cost of Sarah's truth worth the lives we lost along the way? Or should some secrets stay buried on the mountain where they were first spoken? Was it right for her to choose love over family? Or was the betrayal of blood unforgivable? You decide.